Good morning, Lantern Nation. I am Lauren.
I'm Carson.
And we are here in our studio to bring you our Lantern News.
Today is Friday, November 4th, 2016. We would like to wish a happy birthday to Wyatt Ash, Colin Christie, Elise Enyart, and Nicholas Samuel. On Saturday, Ian Nickerson has his birthday. On Sunday, Megan Benton and Kanan Short will be celebrating their birthdays.
Today for lunch, we are having tomato soup, Bosco sticks, carrots and celery, goldfish crackers, applesauce or raisins, and milk. Next week looks like the cafeteria will be serving cheese omelets, chicken tenders, cheese pizza, soft shell tacos, and pasta with sauce.
This Sunday, November 6th, everyone will need to turn their clocks back an hour because of daylight savings time. Good news! Everyone will get to sleep an extra hour Saturday night.
Before we send it over to Caroline to check out next week's weather, we will first take a long look at some pictures from the second graders' field trip to Kircher's Apple Orchard last week.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. I feel it. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. I feel tonight's the night. Let's live it up. I got my money. Let's spin it up. Go out and smash it. Like, oh my God. Jump out that sofa. Let's get.
Thanks, Lauren and Carson. Today's weather will be sunny skies and a high in the upper 50s. For tonight's sectional championship football game at Southwood, the sky should stay clear with the lows in the 40s. Next week's 5-day forecast looks like temperatures will start off in the highs in the 60s with sunny skies at the end of the week with cooler temperatures. There is a good possibility of rain in the middle of the week. For those people who ordered pies from the Rise and Roll fundraiser, the pickup date for those pies is this Wednesday, November 9th, right after school from 3 to 6 p.m. in the elementary school cafeteria. This year's Grandparents' Day is quickly approaching. It will take place on 3 different days this year, November 9th, 10th, and 11th. Here is the schedule. Before we send it over to Brian for this week's sports, we will first show you some footage from the 6th graders' fall party when Andre Bowman was teaching everyone to dance to Michael Jackson's song, Thriller.
basketball team will host a tournament tomorrow here at LaVille Elementary. The first game against Walkerton will start at 8 a.m. Good luck and pick up a trophy. The second and third graders will be having a Veterans Day program next Thursday evening at 6:30. All students need to be at school and in their spots by 6:15 p.m. Do you remember when both principals and Miss Frazier had to sleep up on the roof last year because our school collected so much food for the food drive? Well, it's that time of year again when our school teams up with the Lakeville Lions Club to collect food for the families in need. We will be collecting non-perishable food items that are now expired, starting on Monday and running through November 17th. Incentives for the school will be posted by Monday. Before we send it back over to Lauren and Carson, we will first look at pictures from last week's fall parties.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
he did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
they did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker Five.
Made the mash.
Before we get to this week's trivia question, we would like to look over the question from our last week's show. The question was, in what year did the Red Ribbon campaign get started?
The correct answer is 1985. The class with the correct answer was Mr. P. Davis's 5th grade class. Your treats will be brought down to you sometime today. And now for this week's trivia question.
How many electoral votes will it take for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump to win this year's presidential election?
Don't forget to use your iPad to look up the answers and have your teacher email Mr. Shirley. The winner will be announced in our next week's show.
Here's this week's punny joke.
Hey, kids! Who did the skeleton bring to the Halloween party? Nobody.
Thanks for tuning in to watch another episode of LVTV.
Don't forget to turn back those clocks this weekend. We don't want anyone arriving at school or waiting for the bus an hour early. Have a great weekend and
Charge on, you mighty Lancers!